afternoon, people. I had a slightly different introduction ready for today. But how do I even try to explain that one? It's Asim. It's the post-match reaction against Bournemouth from the disaster down south. You know what? I'm glad I didn't turn. I didn't sort of turn up at Bournemouth on a 12:30 on the Saturday today. I was planning to go last night, checking into a hotel, but boy, Liverpool were absolutely rubbish. How do you go from 7-0 to beating your nearest rivals last week 7-0? I know what, when I walked out Anfield, I'm telling my friends, you know what, knowing our luck, knowing our season, knowing our story this season, you won't put it past us that we go down south to the Vitality Stadium and we bloody do this, what we did today. With me today is Avi and Jean in trying to explain this disaster today that we saw, but they look as confused as me. But who's going to go first?
What's there to say? Klopp's howler, to be honest. The selection was Elliot and Bajicic. You thought, okay, Elliot had a great game at Anfield last week. Bajicic had a bit of a rest.
Well, Avi, I'm going to stop you there. I'm sorry, and I know I'm hosting, but how could you say this is on Klopp in terms of selection? If I put my granddad,
because when you've got Jefferson, when you've got that Jefferson Lerma, you've got Philip Billing, big imposing players. It doesn't matter, Aston. They're big imposing players. You're playing two kids alongside of Fabinho, who just about has come into form. He should have stuck with the 11 last week. I was on the show yesterday with Across the Pond, and me and Evan said he needs to go with Hendo and Fabinho at least. Away ground. It's going to be murky. The weather's shite. And he's playing two kids.
But why are you blaming the weather? You're doing a Klopp. Let's be honest.
Exactly, I'm doing a Klopp. That's what I'm saying. I'm blaming Klopp here.
I don't blame the weather. Like I said, if my grandma played against
this game, it's all. It's
the worst team in the league.
Are you going to let me finish?
It's the worst team.
Are you host or are you going to contribute as well now?
I'm the host, but I'm angry today. I'm sorry.
Everyone's angry. Sabraka a little bit. That's why last week I said, let's not do a show. Let's wait until the Bournemouth game, because I don't want to be one of those that after 7-0, I'm hooring and harring and saying we're back. No, we're not fucking back. You're back after that after the game against Bournemouth, because it was a tricky game. These games are the trickiest games, and we haven't won. I don't think we've beaten. We've gone away and beaten an away team that's been promoted from last season. We're struggling against the bottom six. What is it? Is it players' mentality? What is it? It's the coach. It's everyone combined. But today's selection, Harvey Elliott and Bajicic alongside Fabinho, it was lightweight, whether we like it or not. Well, very pretty players when we were on the offensive. But no, we were very light.
But Hendo wasn't feeling well. Who else would you have started?
If he's not feeling well, then take him out of the 22 altogether, Gene. Then what's he doing coming on the 60th minute then, if he's not feeling well? What kind of crap is that? He's not feeling well.
But that's obviously Klopp come out that he wasn't feeling well, that's why he didn't start. But look, to be fair, Asim, I don't... bar the first, 5 to 10 minutes, that was fucking diabolical, man. Every single area of that pitch was just shy. And, Avi is right. Two kids, in that midfield. Yeah, you know what? They might have started well in the first 10, but after that, we were lost, man. They were just, we couldn't handle their physical press in the midfield. They let our centre backs have the ball. As soon as that ball went into the midfield or the front three, bang, they were bang at it. And, the thing was, we took this game for granted, thinking, yeah, after that 7-0 result, we're going to turn up. We're going to turn these guys over easily. Arsenal were lucky to beat these guys last week. So that should have been something that, we looked at and thought, these guys are not an easy side. They're at home. It's a 12:30 kickoff. Oh, man.
You could say compromised. You could say might have compromised for the Madrid game. But Asim, you can't tell me, that he's gone into this game and he's playing Bajicic and Elliott and thinks, yeah, okay, I get it, right? I get it that we should be going there and beating them. I get that, right? But at the end of the day, you're playing two kids against a team that is quite imposing. They're not like full of short players. Lewis Cook wasn't playing for them. They had Philip Billing 6-footers. They had Lerner 6-footer. They've got players that are imposing. Fabinho, yes, he played well against Manchester City, United. He played well against Wolves, but you had to give him some support. Playing Elliott and Bajicic was not giving him support. Look, leadership. I would have rather he played Milner in midfield today, alongside Fabinho.
Milner came on a right back. What did he do? Tell me.
No, but I rather but that's not his favorite position, is it?
I know it's not his favorite position. You're trying to
tell me Milner
you're trying to tell me, look, I get what you're saying in terms of physicality, we got overrun, but we started well. We started playing football, and I've always said to be a team that's going to be sort of heavily reliant on the counter attack in terms of their physical presence, just like Bournemouth were last season. They were playing on the break last week. Sorry, not last season. I've lost my mind already, understandably so. But in terms of physicality, I can understand. But how to beat these teams is you play football, you move the ball quicker. We weren't moving the ball quick.
That was never going to happen today. That was never.
Why? Why? What
Well,
is it?
when you have Bejic and Javier that starting in that game, two players you think are actually decent on the ball, who can actually receive the ball and might be.
They didn't get time and space. Bournemouth were pushing us. They were pressing us too. They were pressurizing us as well, guys.
But Avi, we started the first 10 minutes. I thought we started off really well. We created a few chances. I thought, this was going to be
Van Dijk should have got scored 2 today.
He just scored number 1, and he was shocking for the goal, man.
Look, I've had a problem with Van Dijk all season. I have always said, in terms of his engagement with the defender, maybe it was a lack of, maybe it was a fatigue factor, maybe a mental factor. Results do funny things to players, even the more senior ones. But I really get pissed off at Van Dijk when he doesn't engage. Why doesn't he engage? He's got the recovery pace to recover. So if you make a mistake, if you make a hash of it, you've got the recovery pace to, sort of get yourself out of trouble. But he let
him go. Like, he let him go to Robbo. I don't understand why he just let him go for that goal. He had him in his positioning was fine at the start. Let him go down the line. You follow your man. It's nice and easy. Why he let him go when Robbo was on the wrong side of the player? Yeah, is baffling. I don't understand what he was trying to do.
You know what I think is that there was 2-3 different phases of that play where I think we just played for offside. We thought it's offside.
We were doing to them what they were doing to us. We were trying to play the ball over the top because they've got short defenders and because they're slow defenders, but it wasn't working. We must have tried that 10-15 times in the first half, and it just wasn't going off for us. Nunes on the left, Gakpo, he couldn't get in the game. He was trying to drop back, but there was no space for him. If there's no space for him, then what do you expect Elliot and Bejic to do?
Look, I've always said we know when teams really park a bus. Can someone explain the 2 changes that we made? We took Nunes and Trent off, and we bought Milner.
No, Hendo and Bobby first.
Hendo and Bobby first. It was a triple substitution, wasn't it? But I said this. I made my sort of feelings known on the WhatsApp group. I said, when you're playing against a low block who have just got something to really, really protect, a 1-0 lead, the worst team in the league, the table doesn't lie, and we're moving the ball like, we're 2-3-0 up. There's a lack of creativity, lack of urgency. And, look, do we really question the players' attitude today? Was it an attitude problem that we can just simply turn up and that's all we need to do? Simply turn up and just go through the gears.
These games against like these lowly promoted sides or the bottom of the league, right? Like the bottom 6, right? You've got to have a bit of intent. You've got to have a bit of aggression. Now you can't tell me Fabinho, Bejic, Elliot when you see them, when you just see the specimen that they are, that you see aggression in them. You don't see it in them. They were weak. They were very weak. Fabinho, yes, throughout his career at Liverpool has had that, but he's not at that level at the moment. He's not. He's had a little recovery last 2 games, but he wasn't that today. Like, we were getting bypassed. The midfield was non-existent. Bejic didn't know. He was stuck on the left side. Elliot was on his normal right side, but they just couldn't get going. And then the front 3, I mean, we'll come onto the front 3, but they were just as culpable as the midfield 3.
Look, for me, Gene, look, let's try to sort of put emotion to aside for a second. I think for the first 10 minutes, I know it's difficult for all of us. But look, hindsight's a great thing. I'm not saying Avi is, particularly wrong in saying we should have gone for a different lineup. But after the game, especially after that sort of performance, it's easy saying that. That's what my point is. But it doesn't matter what type of lineup you put against Bournemouth, away to Bournemouth, I don't care. Bournemouth, we should be winning. That's my point.
Yeah, of course we should have some. What did we do? We only made 1 change from the side that beat Man United. So it's not exactly, you can't pinpoint it down to one. Just because we made one change, we were going to be that bad from winning 7-0 to getting beat by Bournemouth. You think whoever's coming in, Bajicic for Hendo, we're still good enough to go and beat these teams. But the thing that I've got a big issue with, Asim, is that, you know, the writing was on the wall. They got in very, very early a few times. There was the warning signs were there. Twice they got in. Obviously, one was sort of offside, and once when Alisson saved. What I don't understand what our defense and midfield were doing today. There's a massive disconnect again. As you know, it's like one step forward, two steps back. We think we're on a bit of a roll. We've won a couple of games, and that, you know what, the big side's beginning to play well again. But this is just us, you know, turning back the clock three months ago and back to the same old shit where we're going to start questioning the players' attitudes. We're going to start questioning the players if they're good enough to play for this football club. They just this game was a baffling one. It was a bad day.
It's a fucking Jekyll and Hyde team. Crystal Palace, we were lucky to get a draw in that game. Let's be honest, right? They could have won that game. It was the same today. We were lackluster. There was no intensity. There was no intricate play. Everything that we saw in the second half against Manchester United, we were ripped from that. There was nothing there. Nothing there at all. And look, the coaches have got to put their hands up, right? We get a reprieve, Salah. And I was harsh in that WhatsApp group, yeah? Very harsh.
We're coming to that, don't worry.
And you know, you can come to it all you want. Don't worry, I'm ready for it. Salah gets the penalty, and you know he misses. And look, he's got enough credit in the bank that happened. But apart from the penalty, we didn't create anything. Jota, he brings Jota on, and similar anger that I have towards Klopp when he put Elliott on the left-hand side of a front three previously this season. He's done Jota the same. Jota hasn't got that pace. He hasn't got the acceleration to get away on that left-hand side. He's quick when he's got the ball centrally, over 5-6 yards. He's played him on the left, and like it didn't do anything for us. The substitutions didn't do anything for us. He was better off persevering with Nunes.
You know, the problem was, Avi, is not because Jota was on the left. He has not got the trickery of, you know, a Sadio Mane, for example. He can't drop a shoulder, but he's very, very direct. And from the Van Dijk and Robertson balls, he can get in behind someone. Similarly, just like
has he got that? When has he done in the last 5-6 games?
He's got the pace.
He's clearly not fit. He's clearly not.
Hear me out. He's got that injection of pace. Whether it's over 2 yards, 5 yards, 10 yards.
I've yet to see it.
Oh, come on. He's direct. Jota has got him behind defenses many, many, many times.
And this season we're talking about when he's got back. He's not even fit.
But you know the problem with this, people like yourself have been going on about this 4-2-3-1 and 4-2-4, this and that. The problem what happened is what you mentioned is lack of creativity, lack of urgency, and there's more importantly, there's a lack of ideas. What we have in a 4-2-3-1, where there's Jota on the halfway line, where there's Bobby, we're expecting the 31-year-old Bobby, who's hardly played for the last 2-3 months, to come and not just, you know, sort of be the catalyst on the halfway line, but to take players on. We've got two statues. When teams like Bournemouth are parking a bus, our fullbacks go out of the equation, especially when you take off Trent, who can pick a pass out from a standing position. So what happens is our fullbacks are gone out. So you need your players in the two sitting in front of the defense to progress the ball. But when they're two statues, we haven't got anything going into midfield. So it's not just
Gakpo is the one that plays that role in a 4-2 when we switch. Gakpo is the one that can do that. But on the left,
when we're not playing the ball into midfield, how is he supposed to get the ball on the halfway line? He's isolated, and it's very, very easy. We were just putting crosses.
But as his input, since he's come back from injury, his input's not been the same. And I've told you, I have not fears, but I think I worry for Jota at Liverpool. I do worry if a good offer comes in, I could see us accepting.
Look, Asim, I agree with Asim. You know, in terms of creativity, Avi, we lack creativity in all over the pitch, really.
Well, no, we missed Luis Diaz on the left-hand side. Diaz would have been fine today.
Okay, fine.
He's got the ability to take a player on. He's got the ability to do like a Mane, to drop a shoulder. He can go on the outside, come on the inside. We're missing a creative player like that, like we are with Salah. We need, if you're going to play a 4-2-3-1, we need something similar. Like Salah and Diaz would be fine. And then in the middle, you got Nunes. But then where does that leave you with Gakpo and Jota?
This is what I'm trying to say. Avi, we lack creativity. We don't have the simple truth is we don't have the players that are able to, that possess this creativity. Jota, Darwin.
But then why does he persevere with it? And we're going to say, oh, he's got no other option.
Footballers. They're not creative footballers. Yes, Salah might be able to get. Salah has improved in his creativity, but deep down, all the players that we've got, they're not creative enough. to unlock the defenses, play them 1-2s. We don't really see that. Bar the first 10 minutes, we saw a little cameo where the front three had a little, played the ball to where Salah got his shot off. Bar that, there was nothing. There's no real chemistry that, there's a ball, an inside ball through the channel. There was none of that, especially against a side, as Asim mentioned, that play a low block, that are going to sit back. We don't have enough in us to unlock them. And today, we had 4 strikers on. We had 1 shot on goal. That Jota's when the keeper saved. Bar that, what did we create? And Jota did well because he was actually in a central position for that one. Oh, I don't know.
I think this was, part of me thought, just sort of scuff any type of shot, Muhammad, and get that ball back of the net. And we've got 20 minutes because if that penalty goes in,
we've got the ascendancy then, and I believe that we would have gone to win that game. But look, we can't just blame Salah on that. Look, I know
I'm not blaming him.
But a game like that, we should have buried it. You talk about momentum, and for this football team, in the past few years, momentum has been so key. We were on a nice little run here. Yeah, we drew against Palace, but we were unbeaten in 5-6, right? You're coming to Bournemouth. It's an early morning kickoff. This season, the 3 previous kickoffs that you've had, right, it hasn't gone our way. We've lost or we've drawn, right? Surely that's something that the coaches need to get right with the players. That's a mentality thing. That's something that you can coach into the players. That listen, this is not going to be an easy game. Don't expect 3 points. There's something, like you said, there's a disconnect on the pitch, but there's disconnect off the pitch too.
Look, I'm honestly fuming and I'm really angry, and I keep going back to that substitution. Look, we're playing against Bournemouth, and going back to that sort of player, we missed that player to one player in midfield. Yeah, there's always one player in the team to inject the pace into the attack. And we have Trent playing that role. And I'm not saying he was brilliant and maybe we would have won the game, but you have to keep your best players on the pitch. Because let's be honest, we've got Real Madrid in midweek. We're 5-2 down. What sort of chances, realistically speaking, have we got to turn around that tie? I know Avi predicted we're scoring 5 goals.
No. You're laughing. Mute him, or otherwise I'll mute him. That's it. Yeah, he's muted. He's muted you. Listen, guys. Would you be surprised if we beat Madrid? I wouldn't be surprised at all now. I wouldn't be surprised at all. If we turn up on Wednesday, I wouldn't be surprised at all.
We ain't beating Madrid. He's on about Madrid. Can't be Bournemouth. He's talking about Madrid.
Honestly, I really don't know how to react. But just like Avi said, if we actually got some sort of win, I even tweeted yesterday, I'd take a 1-0 after a 7-0. I don't care how it is. We need 3 points.
Look, I don't think everyone just said just win today. Just win. That's all that matters. It's so crucial that we just win. A game in hand. What more did these players need? What spurring on did they need? Excuse the pun. What did they need today to not get the job done? All they knew, it was simple. We're going to the Aviva Stadium. It's going to be a bit tight. But listen, just get over the line. Whether it's a 90th winner, whatever it takes, just get over the game and look forward to Madrid.
That was the key today. Was to get.
We make it hard for ourselves, but I'm not going to blame Bajicic today. I'm not going to get hard on Harvey Elliott like I have previously. I don't feel it was their fault. It was a selection issue, and yes, we can say, oh, it's only one player. One player can make the world of difference. Gene, Konate has come into this team. Konate's come into this. Let me finish. Konate has come into this team. He's made the world of difference to this team. Yes or no? He's made us more. He solidified the defense again.
Because he's a world-class player.
Henderson is our club captain. He should have started a game. These are the games that I don't mind having a Milner or Henderson in midfield against teams like this. We've tried playing the pretty footballs against the Brentfords away. Who else did we lose to this season away from home who are in the bottom 6? Everton away we drew. We've had players like we've had performances like this. It's been the same, and he's tried to be a little bit more progressive in the midfield selection. Today it should have been a boring midfield. It could have been an all British midfield for all I care. But that's we would have won. We would have won. We would have gotten over the line.
If we started, I'll be honest. If we started Milner in that midfield today, like you've mentioned, there would have been an outcry before the game. Why is Milner starting in midfield in 2023? Yeah, it's easy now saying, what?
Because we've got no other option.
Yeah, it's easy now for us to say, okay, you know what, play Milner in that position. But let's face the music, Elliot played well, and if Hendo wasn't well enough to start, the only player suitable to play that role is going to be Bajicic. Really, there's nobody else really that was going to come on. Arthur wasn't going to start today, so I get why.
Well, if he's not going to start, then don't put him on the bench then either. Then what's the point of putting
players? Only get 20 minutes out of him. He wasn't well enough. He thought, you know what, I'm going to bring him in. I'm not going to blame the selection.
I'm talking about Arthur. What's the point of having Arthur in then? What is the point to make up the numbers?
He's just come back. So he's not going to throw him in straight away. He's just come back from injury. So he's going to give him a bit of time, or I don't know exactly how long he's going to take. But you can't give Klopp shit for starting Bajicic over Hendo when Hendo's not well. I don't buy that. But in terms of selections mentioned tactically, look, bar the first 10 minutes, I thought we played really well. We had chances, we were playing well.
We played okay. Simmer down. We played okay.
We were playing well. Bar them thinking, I thought we did well in the first 10. We created chances and we looked comfortable. We actually, bar them that counter attack, we actually looked comfortable. It's only when we started, Trent played that wayward ball and they started creating a couple of chances, then we just lost everything, and the midfield just got completely overrun because they weren't good enough to receive the ball and to put the foot on the ball. That's the simple truth. And then everything else fell into place that we were just not good enough.
Avi, I think, look, we try to sort of play always level-headed at BNR, but even some of Liverpool fans, I think, got carried away after the 7-0 win. It's easy to get carried away. Let's be honest, when you beat your biggest rivals at Anfield 7-0. After that sort of scoreline. But I think if United had a bit of a reality check last week, we most certainly got it this week, because we were sort of hyping up players. And I'm not blaming, look, let me get that straight away. I'm not blaming the players like Elliot and Stefan. They're young, they're sort of maturing, and they'll be better for it, just like they will be better for some experiences early on the season. But I think we had a bit of a reality check that these sort of players are not the Odegaards, not the Bernardo Silvas, not the Kevin De Bruynes that we want them to be in this, midfield in the next 2-3 years. And we, like Gene said, we just got overrun. And you knew, and you could tell, even sat, from the comfort of my sofa today, that Bournemouth are just making runs from deep. They were sort of staying compact, and then we're just, playing that ball from left to right or right to left. And then, we were nice and compact off the ball. But they were making those sort of balls into channels. And let's be honest, there's few of them who really, really got amongst us, and they sort of out-muscled us at times. Even Kanate, I know he won quite a few challenges, but Kanate had to slide tackle a lot today because them guys were really putting it on us.
Yeah, and how many times did we let Philip Billing just run through us centrally? How many times was he in a goal-scoring opportunity and no one was tracking him? Not Fabinho, not Bajicic, not Elliot. Great managers, they know when to thrust youngsters in, especially away from home, right? Great managers. I'm not saying Klopp ain't a great manager. Of course he's a great manager. But to play two of them, that's criminal. They haven't got enough experience to play in games like this. Yes, it should be a walkover, Gene. It should be a walkover, these games, especially after 7-0. But you don't play two kids like that. You look for experience. You look for your club captain to say, yeah, you know what, I've got this. But play Henderson for the first 60. But if you're saying he's not well, then obviously they're probably left with no choice. But
I was just going to come to that. If that's right, if that's true, what Gene's saying, that Henderson wasn't sort of well enough to start, who do you start then?
Give me. These are the issues we've had all season. Ox and Naby, they're out of their door. They weren't even in the squad today. Thiago, well, Gene, go on, talk about Thiago now. Your favorite player. Let's talk now. Thiago missed 7 out of 8 games last season where we dropped points. We win one of those, we win the league. How many times has Thiago just gone missing at big occasion? I'm not saying today was a big occasion.
Why are you talking about
He goes missing. A player up that we're not. Listen, 1 second.
Because we're looking at availability. Yes or no? We look at availability. There has to be question marks now asked of Thiago now. Naby and Ox are gone. Even Thiago now. At 32 years old, he's not gonna give you 40, 50 games.
I don't know what he's on today.
I mean, just to sort of
Asim, you asked me the question. What do we do now? What do we do now with the midfield?
Well, just to clarify, why are you blaming Thiago for this performance today?
No, they're all culpable. All that midfield selection out of form, either injuries, availability, right? I've talked about loss of form already. They're all culpable. That midfield area that we have, those players that we have in our team, they all need to be looked at. They all need to be looked at. There's not one, apart from Bajicic and Fabinho, maybe, there's no one else that I would keep. No one else I would keep. And Elliot, obviously, because he's young.
I agree with that, and it sort of segues into the next super chat. Ash, the biggest supporter, big up Ash, man, and thank you very much again for the super chat. He says, I think now top four is going to be a reach without is going to be out of reach. Maybe I think he means
it's going to be a reach with our upcoming fixtures. All I want now is sort out investment before end of May. I don't want excuses come June and we can't afford this or that player.
We might as well talk about it as well.
Yeah, you might as well talk about it as well since you read it out.
You were struggling with your words. So. I don't think top four is out of our reach, but it's going to be a monumental effort now because even though we're 3 points behind Spurs, they just need to go on a little run. We always say Liverpool are capable of compiling a run of 10 games where we can win 10 in a row. We won't. I don't think we will.
10 in a row.
No, that's what I'm saying. We won't. No, we've done it before in the 2020-21 season when we had all those injuries towards the last back end of the season when we finished third. We did. We won't get this now. We won't get this now. And it's that midfield area. Unfortunately, it is that midfield area. We can blame everything else. The front three. The front three won't operate without the midfield. The defense hasn't got the protection of that midfield three. You can't expect Bajicic and Elliot to give them the protection today. They weren't going to give that defense that protection. That's why Trent looked out of sorts. Robbo was okay here and there. Konate and Van Dijk looked very shaky. Very shaky.
Yeah, they did. But look, we played those two kids because we thought we think we're going to get 70% of the ball, and that might be sort of the case, judging by how deep Bournemouth defending, especially the last 20-30 minutes. But they were, like Avi says, they were always really dangerous on the break. But Gina, I just want to ask you, as what Ash touches on, how do we get out of this now? We've got those three fixtures in April, I think, between sort of 9 days.
I wouldn't be surprised if we lost all three.
No. In the space of 9 days, we've got City, Chelsea, and Arsenal. Yeah. Does today's result rule us out for top four?
Look, I don't think it rules us out because let's face the music. We are capable of beating these sides. We can beat these sides, go win 2 games. My issue right now is we will go and lose against the shit sides. We just beat Man United and we go and lose against Bournemouth. We just don't have the consistency right now. And yes, I'm not going to sit here and say it's completely out of the equation because let's face the music. Spurs might get beat today, and Newcastle might drop points, and it doesn't feel like top four's still there. But looking at this, all in all. And Atik mentions it just now. We don't deserve it, Asim. We don't deserve this top form. We've been lucky. We're actually still in this sort of race, and we've been lucky ever since just to even be in this race. And honestly, I can't. I think Real Madrid obviously will beat us, and then we move on to the City game. And if we won, this is why today was so important, Asim, to win today. It's Bournemouth. You'll be going to the top four. Pile on the pressure on Spurs and Newcastle. And anything could have happened. But now it just feels like...
desire. There was no desire. If you can't get up for these kind of games, there's a fundamental issue in that squad then. We've said it before as well, even before Klopp's tenure as well, where you'd beat the top teams, but when it came to when it came to the lowly teams, when it came to the bottom 6 or the second batch of teams from 10th down, we just wouldn't turn up. This is going on forever, and it's crept in again. It's crept in again, surprisingly, under Klopp. That we couldn't find that desire. We couldn't find that sort of know-how, to just get it over the line. We've done it so well in previous seasons, but it's the same. We look weak. That's the thing. That midfield looked weak today. It wasn't imposing. Bournemouth didn't look at that midfield and say, oh, wait a minute, they've just beaten United 7-0. We should fear them. There was no fear in that midfield today.
Mozambique is saying he gives a super chat, but he's got put nothing into the comment. I think he's trying to symbolize that we got nothing from Liverpool today. But here he comes. He goes, just to cheer you up. If you're going to cheer us up, at least put £1,000 in our bank account. But, but thank you very much. But a question for Gene here. Sully looks like an Arsenal fan. Oh, it's Sully, our own Sully. He goes, some teams play youngest team in the league and sit first. Avi, they've got kids.
Yeah, but they've had kids like Saka or the who've been there for like 2 years. Bajicic has just come into the team this season, isn't it?
Yeah, they've been playing, man. Saka.
You know what I mean? They've been playing together collectively, cohesively. You know, Arteta has been building something with that young team for the last 2-3 years. So come on, get that nonsense, Suleiman's comment out of this.
Look, I just wanted to touch on, there's a comment that came up from, what's his name? Saroni James. And, he mentioned, our passage today. And, the amount of times we were so slow in when we had possession of that ball. Honestly, it's really pissing me off because there was times where the pass was on and we go for the simple ball. And especially when you're losing 2-1, we have to have players good enough to be able to take some sort of risk in that midfield. Again, nobody's good enough to take that risk. And it was pissing me off because the ball was on. And I don't understand why we just, it's always the same old thing. And, the same old, slow, passive play. And again, there's just nothing there right now. And
guys, that performance today is the same shit that we've been seeing away from home. Let's face it. Even at home, even at some performances at home, we've seen that. But away from home, we can't create. We can't snap out chances. We can't. There's no intricate play. When you need to be a little bit quicker, there's nothing. There's no zip there. Oh, at home, I've got no worries. At home, I've got no worries. We've got Arsenal at home, I think, in that little run. Arsenal at home, away to Chelsea, away to City. We'll probably beat Arsenal at home.
I just love the word Harami Rooney is.
Why?
Look at his super chat.
I just love this killer.
Hey, can I'll make sure? Yeah, listen, that's gonna be split 3 ways as well, please. Yeah, Gene. I'll give you my details today.
I think that's a typo as well.
No, he's meant to tip us $49.99. Tip us $49.99.
That's our biggest super chat of the season, and thank you very much, man. A big spot.
I want a chunk of that. Thank you, Harun.
Even though he's a Man United fan,
that'll pay for my weekly shopping.
No, it won't.
It will.
I think these Man United fans are in the comments trying to make us feel better. They must feel sorry for us, but
look, another comment by Ash. Another comment. It's the biggest problem. Moving the ball so slow. Gakpo was one of the biggest culprits today. So slow to pass it. And look, what's wrong with you when the pass was on? And that was a few times, and he got fouled for it, but he didn't release the ball quick enough. That's the issue.
Yeah, there was a moment I think when he tried to play Jota in, and I think the defender cut it out. I think we were 4-on-3 or 4-on-4 at that time, and I thought, that was, to be fair to Gakpo. Look, I lauded him over the last few weeks, always saying that he always makes the right pass. Especially when he's running on goal or onto the defense, he generally plays the right sort of ball. But today I did feel as though there was a couple of times where he dwelled on it a bit too long, or the pass wasn't good enough.
I think Leighton makes a good point as well. He says we aren't good enough to course through any game at the moment. Without intensity in the performance, we can lose to anyone. With it, we can beat anyone. And we saw this. If there's a sort of an example, the best example of this was last week, just like Avi said. And I think this is the sort of transition that we're going through at the moment with the Jurgen Klopp side. If we're going to field players like Harvey Elliott and Thiago, I know he's been in the team a bit longer than Harvey Elliott, and even, sort of integrating Gakpo and Nunes into the team. If we're going to really sort of transition to more of a footballing possession-based team, then we need to bring those players who are more established, who can maybe don't give you an 8 out of 10 one week, a 10 out of 10 one week, and then drop down to a 4 or 5 out of 10. Because this is what happens. You go next week and you lose to Bournemouth. We'd rather have 2 6s and 2 7s, out of 10s, and make sure we get 2 results, even if it's a draw or a win. But I don't know. Maybe we just need to dip into the market, like many people in the comments are saying today.
They're going for me today.
We can't dip in the market now, though, can we?
Yeah, we just need to somehow get through the summer, don't we, Avi? Somehow, I don't know, sneak, sort of crawl to top 4. The sort of benefit and the positive, somehow we have to sort of conjure up out of this weekend is, Avi, it's been a mad season. It's been a wild season where Wolves are beating Tottenham.
Oh, no, I shouldn't forget all that. The only positive to come out of this weekend and today was that, Klopp gave a little slap in the face as well to Fabio Carvalho, but he gave him 5 minutes to come on. Again, where does that substitution make sense? You've left him out, and I'm not sure whether he's left him out or just not felt that he's been ready in the last 2 months or a month and a half, and he plays him when we're losing 1-0, he brings him on in the 86th minute. Like, are you taking the piss? Like, how is that great management? Explain to me, boys, how is that good man management? You've got a kid there at 20 years old. You've left him out for maybe tactical reasons for the last month and a half, and all of a sudden, let's put him on with 5 minutes to go. Hopefully, he can change the game. No, no. I want both you to explain that to me.
Look, I don't know. I don't know exactly why he's been sort of isolated out of the team, Avi. But for me, Carvalho, I can only judge him on his performances. Yes, he's come from Fulham. He needs to be integrated into this team, especially how he's needs to play and adapt to our style in terms of counter pressing. But he's that kind of player where he's not. You were saying Jota, you were saying Nunes, you were saying Gakpo. He's not a player who's going to go on the outside of the right back. So where does he play? He's not big enough. He's not physical enough to play in a three-man midfield on the left-hand side. He doesn't play on the right-hand side of a midfield. He's not going to play in
the same height, same weight as Harvey Elliott, it seems.
Let me finish. Well, you can't advocate, Carvalho to get a starting berth and then say,
I'm not talking about starting. I asked you, no, you didn't answer my question. My question was, how is it man management that he brought him on today with 5 minutes to go?
Look, some players
make sense of it. I can't make sense of it.
I'll tell you. Some players, look, I agree with you. Maybe in terms of the length of time he's been out of the team, maybe that's been too long. You've got a valid point there. But in terms of Carvalho's performances, the odd goal here and there, the odd cameo against Newcastle, and I don't know who the winner against was. He got a goal against Newcastle. And City
against Man City, yeah. We were shocked in that game, though, Asim. You might have got that goal.
The main problem I've got with Carvalho is off the ball presence and his physicality. He came and he played in that Mane position, although he plays it a lot differently. But when you play that position in the inverted role, you find yourself back to goal, especially in transition on the halfway line. And the amount of times Carvalho has lost the ball and sort of other teams meant that they sustained attacks. Why do you think that Liverpool have conceded so many chances? One of the sort of most sort of chances created against us in the league, bar I think Fulham and maybe another team, probably Bournemouth, the team that we played today. Well, I'm not pinning down every single thing on Carvalho, but when you are a top team, especially when you've got a lot of the ball and you're playing the ball to back to goal, you need to protect it. And I think that's been his biggest downfall. Carvalho needs to learn, maybe put a bit of muscle on and spend a bit extra time in the gym. He needs to protect the ball a lot better. And that's sort of kind of reason I can only give you. But sometimes you get this. You find yourself. I think
the starting three today lacked physicality too. Bajicic needs to grow. He still needs to grow and mature.
You can't look for physicality.
Elliot too.
Look for physicality in this team and then say Carvalho needs to play.
No, I'm not saying that. I said, no, you're not understanding. I get if he's been left out and he's on an individual program. My question to you and Gene was, how do you explain that man management from Klopp?
Okay.
Why would you bring him on with 5 minutes to go? Tell me.
Let you
I'll be honest with you. I was shocked to see him come on with a few minutes to go because, but end of the day, Klopp was just trying anything and everything with a few minutes to go, bring him on to see if there is another attacker because I don't think we had any more attackers left.
And that's how damning it is that you feel. And alongside me, he was hoping. Go on, kid. Go and give us 6-7 minutes. Go and give us 6-7 minutes.
Here's another one. I've given you a long explanation on Carvalho. Maybe you can give an explanation on Jones. And Liverbird says, why did Jones get minutes instead of Carvalho? Where was Jones today, Avi? He's out of the squad.
Jones is suffering from shin splints at the moment. I don't know why it's every game. It seems if he comes on, he'll miss the next game. It's a issue that some young players do get. So he's got shin splints. That's why he wasn't even in the squad today.
And that's been confirmed.
I can confirm it to you.
Okay. Okay. I don't know if we're going to wrap this up. We've been going on and we've been waffling on for 40 minutes. Still can't make sense of us losing against Bournemouth. Oh, who's our next game, guys? Real Madrid? How's that going to go?
We're winning 4-0.
Well, we can talk about that. We can talk about that tomorrow. I'm sure we'll be covering it in Red Zone tomorrow. Yeah. I'm going to go back to sleep today. The worst thing is about this today, I stayed sober because I knew if I didn't stay sober, Gene would be on my case because he would know that I was fucking on one for the state of me. So I'm going to go back to sleep. It's still 7 a.m. here, so I'm going to try to yeah, wake up midday and then I'll get back on the phone with you boys and start planning for tomorrow. I don't know, guys. Look, we got Real Madrid on Wednesday. We'll talk about it more tomorrow. Today it was another typical performance, a weak Liverpool team, and we've seen it so many times this season. It's more than one occasion now. It's we just can't get the better of these teams, especially in the bottom six. We'll turn up against the big teams. I thought he ended it. Our mentality changes. Our mentality changes against the weaker teams. It's look, we've had a bit of a aggressive talk today. We've been, a little bit jovial, but it's BS, guys. It really is BS. I can't wait till the summer now. Summer, and hopefully we get some money. That's all I want. Wrap it up.
Yeah, well, you talk about the summer. What I don't want is the narrative to start running Liverpool out of the top four, and we have to target those sort of players who sort of,
There won't be any narrative. Asim, there will be no narrative. You either go big, regardless of top four or not. Regardless of top four or not, you go big. That's it. You try to get your first choices. Jude Bellingham's decision should not be based on whether Liverpool get top four or not. He either wants to play for the club or he doesn't. He either wants to be under the stewardship of Jurgen Klopp or he doesn't.
That's different. That's different. In terms of attracting a caliber of player, you already started seeing it in the last couple of weeks when Liverpool's top four position.
As in with Liverpool Football Club with Jurgen Klopp, right? We should still be attracting the best of the best.
I agree with that. But it's going to happen, isn't it? If we miss top four, we're going to say, yes, from Jude Bellingham, we've gone to Mason Mount. From Mason Mount, we've gone to James Maddison. I can see it. And you're telling me the budget. You're telling me the budget won't be affected.
Shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. That's what I'm saying.
Look, I just want the season to be over with and we go again. We ain't gonna get top four the way we're playing. I can't see it. I wish I could, and I wish this side gave us any sort of hope of us getting top four. It's like one step forward, two steps back. But look, in terms of budget, look, I'm not gonna sit here and defend what we've seen. I can only go by what I've seen in the past. So if I look at the past and look over the last 5 or 6 years, we won the Champions League and signed 2 kids. We won the league and hardly signed anybody. When we needed the players, they never really came. So anybody to come to me and say to me that we're not going to get top four, but you're spending 250 plus million, you're getting cloud cuckoo. We ain't spending 250 plus million if we ain't getting top four. And if we do, we're going to probably buy 30, 40 million pound players, that sort of range. Anybody who thinks that without top four, we're buying Bellingham and the Guardigols and all this, and them type of players, you're living in cloud cuckoo, mate. They ain't coming. Maybe Bellingham might come because of his thing that, he's got this love of wanting to come and, being the catalyst of taking the side forward in the next 4 to 5 years, because he is only 18 and he's obviously got many years ahead of him. But to say that players that we're going to sign around the 25, 26-year-olds that are going to not want to play Champions League, especially with the money that's been offered elsewhere, I can't see that happening.
Okay, I'm sure we'll have that conversation a lot more come this summer, but that was bullshit today, and hopefully we'll see you soon. If you like and subscribe on the way out, that'd be great.
Another 24 hours, to be honest. See you soon. See you tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.